Can you clear out Quarry Junction at level 1? Quarry Junction is one of the most dangerous places in the Mojave Wasteland, and acts as a barrier between you and reaching New Vegas. And trying to pass it results in a very swift end. Due to the skill barrier preventing us from reaching the holy land of debauchery and deviancy, we have to take the game's intended route, which is head south instead and loop around in order to make it to New Vegas, with us coming back to the quarry to clear it much later in the game with better gear and at a higher level. But I say no. If doom scrolling, short form content, and my porn addiction have taught me anything, it's that I want satisfaction and instant gratification now.
But I want it now!
Why wait until we can clear the quarry? Let's do it now, at level 1. New Vegas, here we come. Before we begin, there's one important step we need to take. We need to die.
Hope this interaction doesn't lead to any kind of fallout between us. Fallout New Vegas.
To which we are resurrected and then greeted by the many DLC weapons and armor being placed into our inventory. We then give Doc Mitchell our name.
How about your name? Can you tell me your name? I can't say it's what I'd have picked for you, but if that's your name, that's your name.
And pick our skills. Once the intro ends, we immediately rob Doc Mitchell for everything he's worth. To which we go outside, sell all of Doc Mitchell's belongings in the chat, and then make our way to the cemetery, and dump all of our DLC weapons into an open grave, as I will not be using any of these for the challenge, as it feels unearned and provides an unfair advantage. Upon entering Sloan, I speak with Chomp Lewis, who lets me know that we can't head north due to the Deathclaw infestation
Hold up.
in the quarry.
There are Deathclaws all over the damn place north of here. If you want to get to New Vegas, you're better off heading east from Prim and then looping north.
We instead tell him that we are the answer to his prayers, and that we can clear out the Deathclaws for him, all by ourselves.
You'd have to be the meanest, toughest, roughest bastard in the wasteland to have any chance against them, and I don't think that's you.
After being emasculated by Chomp Lewis, we hold in our tears and make our way towards the quarry. However, I can see there's one Deathclaw outside the entrance, so I decide to take some shots to lure its attention. I can see that it's not a fully grown Deathclaw, so it shouldn't be too hard to take out. I make my way back to Sloan. With the juvenile in pursuit, I race towards the encampment, hoping for some backup from the quarry workers.
Had enough.
After dissociating for a bit due to causing the deaths of innocent workers, I make my way into the quarry, scaling some rocks to get a better idea of what I'm working with. When speaking to Chomp Lewis, he said that taking out the Deathclaw Mother and Alpha would be the best way to fix the problem.
A mother Deathclaw and the Deathclaw Alpha male. Kill them and the pack will scatter. Pretty tough job.
So they would be our main targets. I spot the Alpha first, larger than the other Deathclaws and of darker complexion, and in possession of significantly more aura. They seem to wander closer to the entrance, which is why I spotted them first. Moving closer into the quarry, I spot the Mother. She's accompanied by 4 of her spawn that follow her everywhere, and despite their small size, they are absolutely rapid. I can see there are Deathclaws everywhere, so stealth isn't really an option, so we will be coming back later once we're a bit more geared up. As the video title suggests, we'll be attempting to clear the quarry at level 1, but not just that. We will also be restricting ourselves to gear that can be gathered between the initial starting area of Goodsprings and the quarry, which at this stage of the game, the loot is going to be dog water. We will also be allowed to use the general store to buy ammo and weapons for this challenge. I took the liberty of installing Stewie's Alt Tweaks mod that comes with many quality of life changes, including the option to disable XP gain, so we will be stuck firmly at level 1. And finally, once we're in the quarry, no checkpoints or saving of any kind will be permitted. Once in the quarry, every attempt must be accomplished in one go, and Any death will result in a restart back to the beginning of the quarry. Even if you successfully kill both, a failed extraction means resetting to the very beginning. So in a single attempt, we need to do the following. Sneak into the quarry, take out both the Alpha and the Mother Deathclaw. Sneak back out the quarry and report the success of our mission to Chomp Lewis. So with that out of the way, let's get started. Heading back into Goodsprings, we head to the saloon and meet up with Sunny Smiles. I never noticed this before, but this is a terrible place to practice shooting. With the way the bottles are set up, we are literally shooting into the saloon. After presumably putting a bullet into somebody's skull while they were mid-drink, Sunny leads me for the rest of the tutorial, where we take care of the town's gecko problem. I cop myself a shovel and make sure to loot every gecko I find. I, as well as most of you, have went through this tutorial many times, and the reason I'm going through it again is money. Our main priority just now will be trying to make as many caps as we possibly can from around Goodsprings, so that we can then set ourselves up with the most optimal loadout for taking on the quarry. So that means grabbing everything that isn't nailed down and trying to sell it to Chet to make a profit. Once the sale has been made, I check in with Trudy in the saloon, and I find Joe Cobb starting shit.
If you don't hand Ringo over soon, I'm going to get my friends and we're burning this town to the ground. Got it?
Go fuck yourself.
I then begin the Ghost Town gunfight quest and make my way to the gas station to talk to Ringo.
That's close enough. Who are you, and what do you want with me?
I let him know that I've got his back if we were to take on the Powder Gangers. I then make my way around Goodsprings and I recruit everyone to the cause, as that'll cop me some extra caps, including getting some extra pieces of dynamite from Easy Pete, which will be the main weapon of this challenge. Sonny then informs me that the Powder Gangers have rocked up looking for a fight, to which we then engage them in a showdown. I don't bother with guns as they're not worth my ammo, and opt instead to use a kitchen knife. Once the dust has settled and Ringo has thanked us with the money in his pockets, I then go for the real prize, looting the Powder Gangers' corpses, to then, you guessed it, sell all of it to Chet. That is, selling everything minus the dynamite. We are selling as much as we can to Chet so that we can build our ideal loadout, and one of the weapons we need for the loadout is dynamite, and a lot of it. Because this early in the game, that is what's going to do the most damage to the Deathclaws. Other vital bits of the loadout include the varmint rifle, so we're trying to stock up on as much ammo as we can, preferably armor piercing, so we can put a dent in the Deathclaw's thick exterior. As well as ammo, we're also looking to grab mods for the rifle, most importantly a silencer, as we need as many advantages as we can, and I'm not one to turn down a critical sneak attack. The next item on our list, and the last that we can get from the store, is the recharger rifle, which isn't particularly strong, but it does have the benefit of unlimited ammo. Once we have sold as much as we can to Chet from the Powder Gangers, we begin finding other alternatives to making money, as well as finding the last vital part of our loadout, Stealth Boys, which gives us the lovely ability of turning invisible. A pervert's dream come true.
Yeah, boy.
Bastard, found you.
I was able to find one on Joe Cobb's body, another in Victor's shack, and the last one in the Goodsprings school, leaving us with 3 Stealth Boys. After looting both the shack and the school, I make my way to the other areas that we're allowed to go in this challenge, such as Goodsprings Cave, which houses several coyotes to which we can sell their pelts, including the loot of their victims. The Goodsprings Cemetery, having several graves that we can plunder with our newly acquired shovel. Then the Yangtze Memorial, which has more graves to plunder and an abandoned shack not far away from it. The Devil's Gullet, which has... I don't know, it's a big fucking hole. There's a coyote and some cans, I guess. And for extra caps, I do a once over on Goodsprings.
Don't even joke.
Kill off some settlers.
Hey there.
Murder Easy Pete in his sleep for his dynamite.
Bastard.
And ransack some houses. Then, on the way to Sloan, I relieve some Powder Gangers from their personal belongings, as well as their connection to this mortal plane.
lawman that comes after me won't have.
After our murder spree is over, we then sell all of our garbage to Chet, which we then begin the next phase of our plan. Buy, buy, buy. We now have the funds, and it's time to use them. For 3 in-game days to pass so that he restocks his inventory and has the items we need. So, for a long time, I was just in a constant loop of buying and waiting. Buying and waiting, buying and waiting. We were the sole reason that Chet's business was staying afloat. I mean, we killed everyone else in town who could shop here, so I doubt his cash flow is coming anywhere else.
Go fuck yourself.
So we're basically his #1 customer. His only customer. We were such good customers, in fact, he even let us watch him sleep while we waited for his stock to refill.
Nice.
Then after what felt like forever, we finally had a comfortable amount of ammo, a silencer on our varmint rifle, and enough dynamite to blow a hole where Chet's store used to be. Now that we had everything we needed, it was time to begin purging the quarry of his Deathclaw infestation. After scaling some rocks, I reach my starting location and we make our starter save. As said previously, any death that I have will lead right back here. Considering these will be my first attempts, I expect to be back here often. I then put on my big boy pants and pop my first stealth boy, and push further into the quarry. Without the stealth boys, stealth would be near impossible, as I would have been seen immediately. But with my newfound invisible advantage, sneaking around the quarry was made a menial task. And our first attempt is over. I wasn't expecting it to be that quick, to be honest, but oh well. While the stealth boy can hide me from Deathclaw eyes, it cannot hide me from Deathclaw ears. Even though I was more or less invisible, because I was crouch running, the Deathclaws could hear me, and that gave away my position. So for the next attempt, once I popped my stealth boy, I made sure to slow down a little, so as to not give myself away. Once past the starting area, I make my way towards a pond, where I find a skeleton enjoying a relaxing bath when I notice they are holding probably the greatest weapon for this challenge. A fat man. I am overjoyed with my discovery and I grab it immediately, thinking the odds are now in my favour. To which I realise I don't have any ammo for the fat man, basically rendering it less useful than the shovel I'm carrying. Moving forward, I make a mental note to try and find some ammo for it later. I then see some building support beams that seem a little too small for a Deathclaw to fit through. So I fit myself inside and decide to test my theory. I began taking shots at one of the many Deathclaws to see if it can get me in my hiding spot. When it approaches, the Deathclaw attempts to lunge at me, but fails. It can't get me from my spot and is stuck behind the beams. At this realization, I begin peppering its face with various different types of ammunition I'm carrying, as well as hurling some explosives at it, where some land a little closer to me than I like.
My leg!
After a while, I manage to get its health bar fairly low, but as I'm chipping away at the final bit of HP, Deathclaw decides it's getting impatient with how long this is taking. What? Oh, fuck me. Oh! Oh! Stay. Oh! That's fucking bullshit. Oh, what do you mean? Oh. Realizing that Deathclaws don't always adhere to the laws of physics, I decide to try a different route. Once I load in, I decide to take some shots from the rocks where I know I'll be safe. This method is fine. However, due to you being somewhere where the Deathclaws can't access, their pathfinding goes a little bit mental, and they just run all over the place, making it near impossible to land a shot. At this rate, we're either going to run out of ammo or our guns will break before we end up killing one. Not happy with my vantage point, I decide to move further into the quarry to find a better spot, where I scale up some quarry equipment to get a better view and hopefully some better shots. Happy with the new arrangement, I begin taking shots at the Deathclaws and even kill one below me with dynamite, until they get wise to my tricks and scale the equipment to introduce themselves and fuck my shit up. Next attempt, I retried my earlier trick, where I tried to get the Deathclaw Alpha stuck on some support beams, where I was promptly executed for my lack of originality. I then tried to scale some rocks in the middle of the quarry to get somewhere I could take shots safely, which seemed to be working for a bit. Until it wasn't. Fuck you. Fuck you, fuck you. I then tried my beam trick a couple more times to no avail. Then I tried to scale the quarry equipment again, and before I even got a shot off, one of the Deathclaws showed off their 100 sneak skill. What the f? I decided to climb on top of some excavator equipment to see if that would fare any better. I started taking my shots, and I was indeed, at last, safe. I had found my new vantage point. However, upon getting a few shots in, I was reintroduced to my old problem. The alpha began to run all over the quarry, meaning clean shots were impossible. So in an attempt of desperation, so that I wouldn't end up missing half my shots, I jumped off the excavator, so their pathfinding will then correct itself, so they will run over to me. Running back up the hill, I peer over to see if my plan worked, and if I can hit my shots, when I realised I had struck gold. The Alpha Deathclaw, the perfect killing machine, had a weakness. Slopes. In its attempt to make it up the hill to rip me to pieces, it had gotten itself stuck on the terrain and could not move off of it. So in a very rare moment of everything coming together for me, I took out my dynamite and I started throwing. And eventually, the Alpha was dead. After many attempts, I had finally made a dent in this challenge. One of our 2 targets was down, and only took an absolute shit ton of dynamite to do it. So that meant it was time to move on to our other target, the Deathclaw mother. When the coast was clear, I jumped down into the water and grabbed the unloaded Fat Man. Although useless in its current state due to our lack of ammo, I know exactly where to find some. To be specific, I know where to find one. Only a stone's throw away from the pond is a large hole in the quarry wall, where there lies a couple of bits and bobs, a stim pack, a light machine gun, and of course, a mini nuke. In order to make use of our newly acquired Fat Man, we would need to retrieve the mini nuke from the cave. Unfortunately, the side of the quarry that cave sits on is the side of the map the mother patrols. Even worse, she spends most of her time directly in front of the cave. In order to get the mini nuke, we'll have to sneak into the cave, grab it quickly, and then sneak back out. Only then will we be able to rain hellfire on our target and her rat children and call our extermination mission a resounding success. I activated my stealth boy and began sneaking towards the cave. This is a high risk, high reward scenario we are in. If we get this mini nuke, we have a crazy advantage on our side. But if we get caught, it is game over, and it is back to the start again. I should have been playing this safe, but the opportunity was too good to pass up. We are putting on our big boy pants and taking a risk. Oh shit. And back to the start again. Regardless of the lost progress, I was not deterred. The Fat Man was the way to go. Even though I had figured out my optimal strategy for taking out the Alpha, my execution of said strategy was much to be desired. After finally taking out the Alpha again, I began the same approach. But this time, I shoot the mother while I am on an inaccessible rock, so her pathfinding will lead her away from the cave, and I then make my way across the quarry. I make it into the cave, and I see my prize. Get it. I grab it off the ground, and then begin looking for a safe vantage point. Get up! Come on! Oh! With my pants soiled and my progress flashing before my eyes, I begin evading the Deathclaw and choose some rocks to hide on, hoping that it loses interest. I then spot the mother up a hill, but before I can decide what to do, disaster strikes. My stealth boy had run out of charge, and I had entered a danger status. They knew where I was, and they were coming for me. But after a couple of seconds, I realised they hadn't begun moving in my direction yet. I had inadvertently found my new hiding spot, and to test how viable this spot actually was, I moved off the rock, and as I thought, the mother came running. Once I had confirmed my new safe haven, it was time to put my plan into action. I stepped off the rock, and once she was close, I made the switch to Go-Go Gadget Oppenheimer, and then it was bombs away. It was a direct hit, Not on the mother, but the baby standing next to her. A reasonable bit of collateral damage. I then checked the mother's health, and she was low. Oh, let's go, let's go. The explosion took a massive chunk of her health down. The plan was a success. Now we just needed to clean up and go for the kill. I started throwing some dynamite when she got close, and clearly she knew the danger she was in, as she executed another one of the Deathclaw's hidden moves, space travel. What? Once she had come back down to Earth, I had a run-in with one of the children, who had clearly come for revenge due to me dropping an atomic bomb on its sibling, but there's nothing a shovel can fix. And then after several varmint rifle shots, the mother was finally dead. I began to celebrate, but it was cut short, as I realised the challenge was not in fact over. Even though I had killed both the alpha and the mother, I still needed to escape the quarry. So I began trying to make my exit, but I had run out of stealth boys. I had used an extra one foolishly, and I was paying for it. As I was sneaking out the quarry, I got spotted. In a panic, I began to run. The only safe space that I could think of that I could get to in time was the beams that I'd used earlier in the run. The ones that had proved to be 50-50 on if they would work or not. Well, as I was running up, I prayed that the odds would be in my favour. If this didn't work, then I'd be torn to shreds and end up right back at the start. No, 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 no. Please stay there. Oh. I fucking hate this game. No! No! What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Even though I had taken the nastiest right hook of my life, the beams were holding. But with how temperamental they were, it was probably only a matter of time before the Deathclaw warped through them and murked me. So, I began to work fast, lobbing stick after stick of dynamite and even crippling myself several times in the process. At this rate, I was more danger to myself than the monster from hell not 10 feet away from me. Once I had exhausted my dynamite reserve, I then started taking some shots, finding it incredibly hard to hit them as I had inadvertently crippled my arms when throwing the dynamite. It felt like drunk driving would be far easier than this. Part of me was glad, however, because at the rate I was going, I would have ended up killing myself before the Deathclaw could. As I was taking my final shots, the Deathclaw clipped through for the final time, mere inches away from me. Had I taken any longer, it may have spelled the end for me. Oh, man. Relieved that I had somehow survived, I began limping for the rest of the quarry. The dynamite supply was exhausted, as well as my stim packs, so there was no healing my broken limbs. I had made my bed, and now it was time to lie in it. As I was sneaking through, I got spotted. In a sheer panic, I ran up the walkway, hoping to escape, and I had managed to evade my danger status. I had made my way to my original vantage point. This was how I had made it into the quarry initially, by scaling some rocks to avoid being skewered, but I was unable to climb them. Oh, I'm not making that. I'm so not making that. The rocks were too steep, and the walkway was not high enough to jump across, and the broken legs weren't helping either. Trying to leave through the entrance was a death sentence. The rocks were my only chance. So in a fit of desperation, I start jumping around the rocks, desperately trying to find some footing so I can leave this godforsaken place. But in my struggle to climb the rocks, I went into a dangerous state. They found me. No. No. I began running towards the walkway, but due to the reduced speed of my crippled limbs, I didn't stand a chance, and the run was officially over. I tried to not let it get to me, but follow-up runs resulted in fail after fail. And by the 7th consecutive fail, I decided it was time for a well-deserved break. So after a dozen attempts of getting mauled, I decided to reevaluate some things. My life, mostly, but also our loadout. Our optimization was all over the place. We were using at most 4 weapons, but for some reason we were carrying far more than that. For instance, we were still holding on to a 9mm pistol. What the fuck is a 9mm pistol going to do against a Deathclaw? Also, our stats weren't well allocated either. We still had 5 in intelligence. We weren't leveling up. This shouldn't be this high. Not a very intelligent choice, if I say so myself.
This is great banter. It really is.
With that in mind, I reloaded an earlier save to when we were still in Goodsprings, and revamped my skills. I maxed out Perception, as since that's tied to explosives, and dynamite is one of our main weapons, that's a fairly vital skill. It will also give our one Fat Man shot some extra oomph. We then maxed out Agility, as that affects our skills with guns and how fast we can shoot our varmint rifle. Finally, max Luck, as that dictates how often we get critical hits, and as an added bonus, it allows us to get better loot to sell, which in turn means more caps. I also picked explosives as a tag skill, which means we get it to around 51. And we leave Doc Mitchell's house with 12 sticks of dynamite. Once our skills had been assigned, I carried on with business as usual. Do some looting, do some killing, and sell everything humanely possible. While pillaging the town, in one of the settler homes, I ended up grabbing a star bottle cap, which, unbeknownst to me, had awoken an ancient evil that began to pursue me. No. 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 No, fuck off. While being chased down by this omnipotent force that was Malcolm Holmes, I realised that the point of this challenge is a region lock on looting to only within Goodsprings and the surrounding area. And since Malcolm was now within that area, well... more money to the pile. And of course, a rigorous amount of creeping on Chet while we wait for him to restock the store. Once I looted as much as I could from Goodsprings, I thought we could maybe squeeze a little more money out of this town, so I then went for the Bighorners. And during my gleeful stint of extermination, I realised there was one place that I had left untouched in my quest for wealth and power. In Sloan, all of the workers sleep in bunk beds, side by side in the same room, so clearing them all wouldn't take long at all. Chomp Lewis is going to be thrilled about me fixing the unemployment rate in this place. What the fuck?! After selling the final bit of loot, we took stock of our inventory. This time, we had more dynamite, more ammo, and some extra mods for the varmint rifle. We also threw on some leather armor, as that meant we had a better chance of surviving a hit if a Deathclaw took a swing at us. Also, I was sick of wondering why my character was naked. There was now nothing more we could do. We were as ready as we could be. We then said goodbye to Chet, and wished him sweet dreams. Making the population of Goodsprings lower than Nipton. With my optimised build now in tow, I was ready to begin my second assault on the quarry. I made my way back up to the rocks, and I made my checkpoint. I popped my stealth boy, and head over to my first checkpoint. I managed to take out a few Deathclaws and start making progress on the Alpha. Things are going pretty well, until they aren't. No. No. I'm a bit rusty, that's fine. We load up our save and try again. Pop another stealth boy, make my way across. I even almost end up getting spotted, but I continue to the checkpoint after successfully evading my pursuer. Or so I thought. Thinking that I was going to be plagued with more dud attempts, I was able to make it across. While scouting around trying to find some angles, I realised that from where I was actually able to make it back to the starting rocks. So when it came time to leave the quarry, I would be able to take a much safer route. This was my new exit strategy. I then started peppering the Alpha, leading them over to me so that he could get stuck on the terrain. Once stuck, I made it rain on him, like a student trying to pay off their student loans. Once dealt with, I grabbed the Fat Man and began making my way over to the cave. Unfortunately, Mother Deathclaw wasn't as far away as I thought, and it caught wind of my scent as I entered the caution status. I pushed myself into a rocky corner and stayed completely still. The mother came close, and I thought for sure I was about to be sent back to the start. Thankfully, she lost interest, and after breathing a heavy sigh of relief, oh for fuck's sake,
Bitch.
we then reload, make our way to our checkpoint, lure the alpha to our position, blow him the fuck up, and then make our way to the mother. This time, she's far enough away from the cave for us to make our way in and take our prize. After almost getting caught, I finally make it to the second checkpoint. With the mother close in sight, I ready myself to rain hellfire with the Fat Man. Oh, which I had forgotten to pick up.
Oh, I can't fucking believe it.
After a quick re-evaluation of my intelligence, I set off to pick up the Fat Man. I finally make my way to the pond and attempt to grab the Fat Man. Keyword is attempt. Hoping that the Deathclaw mother smacked some sense into me, I roll into another attempt. Take care of the alpha, and pick up the Fat Man this time. I make my way into the cave after seeing it unguarded. Unfortunately, while I was moving into the cave, I was spotted. Pushing myself into the back of the cave, I prayed that they would lose interest and give me a fucking break.
Well, go hard or go home. Never fucking mind.
The current run looked good. I had secured the Fat Man and had a good shot of taking down the mother.
Alright. Here comes the boom.
Oh, I didn't kill her. I fired away, but unfortunately it wasn't enough to take her down completely.
Ooh, got the kids though. Collateral damage. Just like Uncle Sam intended.
I would have to chip away at the rest of her health to finish her off. But unfortunately, a familiar problem arose, where her pathfinding took her completely out of my field of view. In an attempt to regain line of sight, I scaled up some rocks to try and get eyes on her, and unfortunately, I ended up getting a little bit of tunnel vision. Thankfully, it's just a baby, so nothing to worry about. I continued trying to get eyes on my target, and I could see she was beside some excavator equipment, so I began scaling up the rocks some more to get a better shot. Then she went out of my view again.
Oh! No, 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 no. Oh.
No. No! Come on! Oh! No! Oh! Hook, what? No, 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 no! Get me out, get me out, get me out! Oh! Fuck's sake! No! Oh!
Good morning.
After countless respawns, took out the alpha, grabbed the Fat Man, and snuck into the cave to grab the mini nuke, I once again found myself at the second checkpoint. And like clockwork, I waited for the mother to be in a vulnerable position and fired away the Fat Man. It was a direct hit, but not enough to take her down. So I pulled out my varmint rifle and I started blasting.
Anyway, I started blasting.
I imagine she tried to make an escape, but with her limbs crippled from the explosion, she didn't get far, and I was able to make short work of her with some armor-piercing rounds. As I was firing away like there was no tomorrow, some of the children had made its way to me and were looking for a fight. No doubt a vain attempt to try and save its mother. The shovel I had made short work of the orphans and reunited them with both their parents. Once the children were dealt with, I popped my last stealth boy and began making my extract. As I was making my way out, I noticed a rather sad sight. A single Deathclaw baby, alone. No parents and no siblings. Realizing the situation I had put the child in, I couldn't bear to have it grow up scared and alone. So I decided it shouldn't grow up at all. And with a bullet in the baby Deathclaw's skull marked the end of the challenge. After countless attempts, I had finally done it. For all the pain, suffering, and setbacks, the relief I felt was truly indescribable. I jumped up the rocks and made my way back out the quarry, making sure to pay my respects to the remaining Deathclaws who had proved to be a worthy opponent. Fuck you, suck my nuts. And then made my way back to Sloan to reap my rewards.
Coming from anyone else, I'd say they were drunk or crazy, but that look in your eyes, I believe you.
Yeah, it was a real pain in the arse, but I did it. Really gratifying though. The reward was really being able to pull up. And that's the end of the video. Reward was shit, but isn't it always? You can in fact clear Quarry Junction at level 1, while being region locked to the starting area. It took ages, but we did it. And by we, I mean me. You didn't do anything, let's be honest. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. Or if you hated the video, leave a dislike. And if you want me to make more like this, subscribe to the channel. Or don't, and I won't. Anyway, hopefully see you next time.
Uh-huh.